Cracking.
Damn it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dota 2 Champions League. I muted my microphone. And we're getting into Game 2 of Cloud9 versus Power Rangers. Very excited to be getting into this game because we already got some special things going on in the draft we want to be able to talk about. But first, before I reveal that, I also want to give you guys the heads up that we're going to be doing a couple different things. First of all, you already saw the prize pool video. Pretty awesome stuff. If you haven't bought the ticket already, be sure to go do that. But not only all those other prizes, but the Dota 2 Champions League, we've already matched the first ticket already. You have the ability, if you buy the ticket, you've already reached that first milestone that allows you to be able to watch the Season 3 qualifiers when they do happen. So that is a big upgrade. So if you haven't already, be sure to buy the ticket. On top of that, because of already having to reach the milestone, Dota 2 Champions League will be giving away some of those Legion Commander, completely with that, and Terrorblade Arcanas. So those are really, really cool. If you guys haven't seen them, I'm not sure where you've been, but they're pretty awesome stuff, and they're given away on their Facebook. So if you've been watching this game, I think they're going to be throwing out a question, something about the series, what exactly happened. If you answer it and you put your Steam profile in the answer as well, you have the chance to be able to win one of those Arcanas. They're going to be giving away 6. Both on Facebook and VK. Of course, that's for the Russians. But still, Facebook, guys, go over there. Check it out. Facebook.com/D2CL. Be sure to go over there and for your chance to win some free Arcanas. On top of that, we also have free rares. Can't forget about that. We're going to be giving those away on our Twitters, at Dota Capitalist, at Ayesee, and at Nahaz Dota. I'll be giving one to him as well. And that concludes all of the pimping so we can talk about this draft where we're going to see an Ember Spirit. And I can welcome in my co-caster, Ayesee. He's going to be doing the play-by-play.
Yep, thank you again. Welcome back in to all of our viewers as well. Cloud9 looking very good in Game 1. Sealed the deal in about 30 minutes. But honestly, that game was all but over by the time the laning phase broke down. And PR, again, just the team who just lives and dies by the laning phase, basically. Their movement rotations usually spot on, but Cloud9 able to just take that out of the game entirely. And because of that, took a lead early and never really looked back. Now I'm looking ahead to Game 2. Going to snag the Ember Spirit up very, very quickly. Been seeing that hero get quite a lot of play and tons of different contexts as well. And we'll talk briefly about everything he brings to bear. But honestly, I'm happy to see 2 games in a row now. A Witch Doctor picked up in 3rd position, but not just by one team. So this isn't like a pocket strat that one team pulled out. In fact, the Cloud9 snagged him in that 3rd position as well. So getting to see the hero in competitive play is always a lot of fun. They've got the Nyx Assassin to go with him and the mobility of the Nature's Prophet. So back to PR, though. Venomancer, Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit, I'm anxious to see where they want to run him. Will that be a mid Ember or will it be a 1 position? Honestly, because it's PR, I suspect it's going to be a mid just because they like high aggression lineups. And Ember Spirit, though, can be farmed as a 1, really can fit into a Power Rangers-esque kind of a playstyle very easily if you put him mid.
Yeah, I've been talking to a couple different professionals. It seems like everybody's kind of agreeing that as we see more Ember Spirit, people are liking him less as a hard carry and more of either an aggressive carry that is really, really active or as in that middle role. Especially if you're going up against any sort of melee, Ember Spirit will dominate that matchup very, very easily. But on top of that, Ember Spirit goes into the mid game really, really strong by having all that different mobility. Going back to the Witch Doctor pickup, I mean, maybe this is a situation where Cloud9 just want to show that Witch Doctor is viable, and even though Power Rangers lost with it, it can still be good. But Witch Doctor has always been the hero that sort of lives and dies at his Q. The cask and whether or not you actually get some good bounces is pretty much what makes or breaks the hero, because Maledict is a strong ability, same goes with his ultimate. However, they're more mid to late game oriented abilities. Cask is his early game stun, and if you're oftentimes, it's not very good for rotations. You oftentimes don't get in a whole lot of bounces. So if you're able to actually make that work in any sort of tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario, or group heroes up somehow with any sort of positioning ability, something like a Magnus or a Vacuum, can definitely be okay. But for the most part, Witch Doctor is not the strongest laning support, and I feel that there are other supports that go into mid to late game that have a lot more. Example, Ancient Apparition is really one of those supports who doesn't give you too much in the early game, but excels at being able to have that really, really potent ultimate going in mid to late game. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see how Cloud9 are going to run this. They now picking up a Weaver, while Power Rangers picking up a Shadow Demon fairly early on here. This is an interesting pickup because Shadow Demon doesn't necessarily counter any of the heroes that were already in the pool, and definitely does not stop a Weaver now that it's picked up.
Yeah, and PR again, they just kind of do their own thing most of the time. I mean, they will counterpick if there's an obvious option available to them and they don't really have anything locked in place. But generally speaking, of all the times I've seen them play, they do tend to just do their own thing and look to beat you with out-and-out execution instead of drafting prowess. But on the side of Cloud9, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't know that it'll be the case. But, I mean, when you look at what they have so far, you have a Nature's Prophet, a Nyx Assassin, and a Weaver. All three very popular off-lane heroes. Nyx Assassin can be played as a support, can even be played as a mid. A lot of ambiguity on their side. It would not shock me. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee or it's something that you can even put a lot of money on, but it wouldn't shock me to see Cloud9 mix it up and maybe even send the Witch Doctor mid. Witch Doctor mid, I mean, it's a weird kind of a wonky sort of a thing. He doesn't have an innate escape mechanism. You can gank him out. But Witch Doctor really, when you run him with any kind of level and farm priority, can be extremely strong. If he's able to get up a BKB, all of a sudden his ultimate becomes a gigantic liability that you just have to try to account for. So again, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Cloud9 run in mid. But that's something I've been wanting to see in competitive Dota for a while, that you occasionally see players mess around with, and having talked to some pros as well, they mess around with it from time to time. But again, wide open lanes right now for Cloud9. They can do a lot with how they want to lane this out. PR, on the other hand, again, just kind of doing their own thing, picking up the Disruptor, a nice answer to Weaver if you can manage to land that initial glimpse, then catch him in a kinetic field with a static storm.
10 seconds.
This is... I'm kind of confused here. Power Rangers. I mean, I know they like really, really aggressive lineups that tend towards the squishy side, but come on. I like Venomancer, Shadow Demon, and Disruptor all being picked up. Really? This is kind of crazy.
Speaking of crazy, how about an axe pick? Throw that in there as well for Cloud9 to round out their 5. Yeah, I mean, looking at PR, I've just got a big grin on my face. This is just so a draft like they would run. I mean, it's almost impossible to tell what they're going to do. Ember Spirit could be run mid. We even see mid Venomancers from time to time. Mid Disruptor was something we used to see when Disruptor first went into the game, and teams were really experimenting a lot with him. Saw like Crit is the one that comes to mind. He played an excellent mid Disruptor and really made a difference on that hero in that position. But they're going to go ahead and grab the Luna. So with that Luna pickup, one would imagine that's going to guarantee the Ember Spirit mid. But now the question is, how are you going to end up laning this out? You don't have a true off-lane hero, though. Yeah, it's actually going to be ZXC playing on the Venomancer. So that looks like that's going to be a mid-Veno. Are they going to try to solo farm the Ember with Luna and an aggressive tri-lane? Or I guess you could aggressive tri-lane the Ember Spirit, too. I mean, I don't know. It's I'm looking forward to finding out, though. And it's going to be Sing Sing actually playing on the Nyx Assassins. So waiting to see how the rest of Cloud9 picks up their heroes. This should be a damn fun game to watch.
Yeah, this has... It can be really, really fun. It'll be interesting to watch the lanes pan out. At the same time, Power Rangers can sort of just stumble at 2 minutes in, and then from there, the game is easily Cloud9's. Like, this lineup, especially the potential of running an aggressive tri-lane here with, like, Shadow Demon, Disruptor, Luna, I think they're angling for the triple range tri-lane with the Luna Aura, but at the same time, that isn't... Your two supports are very, very defensive, don't do a whole lot in-game at early on in the laning phase at all. So I'm not sure how they make an aggressive tri-lane work at all. Ember Spirit, in my mind, has to be solo. He needs experience. Unless he's putting in that hard carry role, which is very, very risky. But unless he's been put in that role, there's just no way that you can kind of gimp his experience by going aggressive tri-lane. He doesn't really provide enough with Flame Guard or with Searing Chains early on against tri-lanes. It's just... it's too easy for you to get bursted down, especially Flame Guard level 1. The biggest thing about tri-lanes is how strong are they at level 1 and level 2. And the answer with Flame Guard is you're blocking 50 magic damage. That's really not a whole lot. And that means you lose all of your damage over time as well. So instead, Power Rangers going for dual lanes. So instead of... trying to get a little crazy here, they're just going to go with the Shadow Demon protecting Luna in the off lane. You've got an Ember Spirit at bottom who's going to be protected maybe by the Disruptor, but as I say that, he's already rotating the top. I don't feel this AC. I don't like it at all. This aggressive tri-lane could potentially get tore up in just one overextension with the Axe rotating in, and the Weaver is a hero that capitalizes against tri-lanes with weak disables like this. I think Weaver is going to be very, very strong against this lane.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. And this is, I mean, this is just what Power Rangers does, though. I mean, there's no huge surprise in any of this. They have no problem picking a tri-lane and going, you know what? This is what we're running, and if we give up a couple of deaths, yeah, we might lose, but damn it, we're going to make it work. And that's kind of what it's going to come down to. One or two deaths or, like you said, rotations, good rotations coming out of Cloud9 can certainly confound all of this. And, in fact, I mean, just taking a look at how this lane is taking shape already, this is a Bone 7 mid-axe. That's definitely what we're seeing right now. So him there, Pylai Dai making his way through the jungle. Sing Sing going to be soloing the Nyx assassin. Nyx is going to be tough for them to bring down with this composition because of Carapace. They have a chance right here, though. Going to try to block him in kinetic field a little bit late. Do they have the damage? They do not. And even here comes Pylai Dai just to secure things with the treants. So that was probably their best opportunity to bring him down. Now he knows the shape and the landscape of this top lane. Should be able to keep himself safe. So we're going to be focusing mostly here on mid, I do believe. I mean, Bone 7 and what he's able to do to this Venomancer, but in bottom as well. What can Cheshire Cat do? He's up against the duo lane. He's going to be taking a lot of damage, and so long as C9 is able to keep themselves safe, they'll be actually, hang on, at top. We're going to see first blood on Pylai Dai, and now Sing Sing in some trouble as well. And yep, Power Ranger says, you know what? Might be squishy, but so are you. They managed to notch 2, including a first blood. Well played in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, just pretty much the Furion getting caught out of position there with Shadow Demon. I mean, when you're getting caught out by a Shadow Demon Disruptor, those are the supports that catch you out. You know you've kind of put yourself in the wrong position. Nyx Assassin would have been a great hero up against this lane too, but now that they fed away the kills, it's a serious advantage going the way to the aggro tribe, but without any real nukes. I mean, the Luna Aura being able to allow them to do a little bit more damage, but Nyx Assassin is a high armor hero, and he has a really good base regen, so he would have been really, really good against these supports that don't really do a whole lot at level 1, level 2, but being able to pick up that kill was very, very huge for them, and now they're going to try and rotate into middle, where if they can catch out Bone 7 with a good disruption into the slow from Venomancer, they had the chance to be able to slow down Bone 7 and with the extra bit of damage coming out from Soul Catcher, could just slowly but surely walk him down. But instead, Bone 7 spies it out and might just pick up a haste.
Yep. Haste picked up by Bone 7, and now F-God could be in some trouble. He's got help on the way. Disruption to disjoint things a little bit. No help coming from the Venomancer, though. And, yeah, that's a little bizarre. Why was he hanging around? I mean, that had to be a miscommunication. ZXC never even tried to head in that direction, and instead, Bone 7, because of that haste, able to track down the Disruptor and get Cloud9 on the board.
Hey, you got me, man. I have no idea why he stuck around. Shadow Demon did think that he was going to, he positioned himself so that they thought they were going to be able to get Bone 7 surrounded right up. He was right up against a cliff, and then with the 2 illusions spawning around the axe as well, and the Shadow Demon trying to provide that body blocking, they thought they were going to be able to box him in, but Axe comes back, and with that haste rune, even if they did box him in, he gets 1 spin and those illusions are gone, and then he continues on the haste run. So that was just a silly idea, and Venomancer not rotating as well. They definitely could have used him, but at the same time, what's a Venomancer going to do about any sort of hasted target? Throw down Venomous Gale and do nothing.
Yep. And right now, even though Power Rangers is doing very well in their rotations, they did end up giving that kill to Bone 7. That's problematic. But take a look at poor Cheshire Cat. He just now hit level 2, and he's sitting on every bit of 1 CS. So this bottom lane has been an unmitigated disaster for PR, and that's going to be a very slow start for this Ember Spirit. And he's going to have to bounce back hard and bounce back quick, and a kill would certainly help. F-God and J4 trying to keep an eye on things down here and make something happen. We see the pings going out, but so far, not much happening. AUI, in the meantime, in position to try and dive on Moon, and they should be able to get him. He's underneath his own tower. Sing Sing eating some damage. Moon's actually going to go ahead and cut into the river now. Ember Spirit, in the meantime, helps get a kill at bottom as Moon manages to make it away. So down at bottom, they do get Ember Spirit what they needed, that death on Eternal Envy, a big find for them, and they managed to not lose Moon as well. So another good exchange going the way of PR.
Yeah, they lost the Venomancer going up against the Axe, but that's not too terrible. The biggest thing is they shut down Envy, and they got Cheshire Cat a little bit of extra farm because he was, you're right, suffering is the perfect word right there. I mean, sitting at level 2 in lane at 4 minutes in is just awful with no CS, no nothing. So, picking off Envy once is going to be great, but once he starts getting level 7, level 8, he has that ultimate to be able to rely on. These under-leveled support is going to be the biggest thing. If they can get Disruptor to level 6, he'll be a decent counter to the Weaver, but before that, And Weaver, that sort of time advantage where Weaver with his solo experience will be able to have the ultimate, he's going to just run Rickshaw all over these supports. They're not very heavy on disables. The biggest thing is going to be Disruptor's ultimate, if they can get that off. But other than that, they have very, very little lockdown up against a Weaver. So they really need to prioritize Disruptor because he's the hard counter right now to the Weaver. And if they don't shut him down with the Disruptor, then Weaver's going to start getting some good physical amount of damage, and then Luna's going to be in trouble because she's a hero that is squishy, that overly relies on her BKB, and because of that is very, very susceptible to early physical damage. And Weaver's the perfect kind of hero that has just enough survivability to output that damage on Luna while also be able to have the maneuverability to get away from that ultimate.
Smoke up at top. PR looking for Pile Die. Gonna find him. There's the disruption. Disruptor hanging around the edge. Actually, yeah, didn't even spin the kinetic field. Knew they weren't going to need it. Between Lucent Beam and Thunderstrike, they had more than enough damage to get the job done. So PR now doubling up C9 at the coming up on 6-minute mark. And again, this is where they usually find their success, is this kind of play style, roaming around, switching lanes up a lot. And honestly, they've created a tremendous amount of space for Cheshire Cat, who's now just short of level 5. He's actually bounced back quite admirably after that death on Eternal Envy at bottom. And we can see PR's not about to let up. They're not even trying to hard farm the Luna. They're saying the hell with it. This is a strong 3-man tandem. We're going to continue to bounce around, try to take your jungle away from you early, and try to find a kill when and where we can. And Cheshire Cat, under cover of an Invis, is going to spot out Sing Sing here. Not the best matchup for him to try to take. He may end up trying to wait and do a little bit of damage before it runs out. Nope, never mind. Just going to go straight back and look for some performance.
Yep, 4-2. I just want to take a short little look at that gold lead right now. It's in about 600 for PR, but experience is going the way of Cloud9, and that's really the more important thing, I feel, about this laning situation, is experience is very, very important. We already talked about the reason the supports are very, very level dependent, but you also have some pretty level dependent heroes on Cloud9. Nyx Assassin, right? Being able to pick up those early levels into Vendetta, even picking up level 2 Vendetta is very, very important, giving you the possibility to burst down some of those heroes. If you can grab a Blink alongside that, his initiation alongside Bone 7, and maybe even the Furion ultimate, they pretty much can hunt down heroes left and right and pick them off. And it'll also be good team fight initiation that'll allow a lot of room for Envy to be able to work around. But I like what ZXC is doing right now. He's trying to put some pressure on this middle lane by spamming out the wards. However, they need some sort of rotation because Envy is making sure that there's no tower damage being applied whatsoever. He's just dragging the creeps away every single time.
Yeah, and you know, this is kind of the... It's so feast or famine when you see a mid-Venomancer, and the few times I've seen it hang on the top, we're going to have Bone 7 caught in the kinetic field. Follow-ups there. There's the Eclipse. Do they have the damage? A lot of creeps hitting that. They will be able to track down the Axe, and Moon's going to dive right past the tier 2, looking for a kill on AUI. Here comes Pile Die in to try and make something happen. Kinetic field's going to be there. Burst it down as Pile Die, and now Eternal Envy trying to get some return kills, but Shadow Demon drops. F-God going to work on AUI, who uses his healing and will be able to get a return kill of his own because of it. Moon manages to make it away. Good glimpse actually sent back Eternal Envy from whence he came, and unable to make it back up to have any other contribution added to that fight. PR maintains their lead, trading even there, make it 6-4.
Yeah, the number of times where I've seen a Witch Doctor turn an early skirmish like that because of his heal, it's just such an obnoxious. It's a low amount of mana and a decent amount of heal, and in support versus support matchups, you just don't stand a chance. So anytime, guys, you're in a situation like that where you're on even health and even damage on a Witch Doctor, just walk away because you're not going to win that man fight whatsoever. Going back to this, ZXC is maxing out his Poison Sting after leveling up wards. Not a big surprise there. But they do need to start making this whole entire matchup worth it, because right now they're just throwing down a bunch of wards and getting a lot of farm on ZXC, but he's not a hero that it turns that into any really amazing items. There's no like big item like, for example, Blink Dagger on Nyx Assassin that is as effective on a Venomancer. So all the farm he's picking up right now, sure, it's great. Maybe he'll be able to output a lot of damage, get some early levels, maybe and get something like an Agadams and Veil for his ultimate. However, how are they going to turn this into objectives? They need to be able to gain a little bit of map control before Cloud9 go on this tear. They have a very, very strong mid-game oriented lineup on Cloud9 that is going to try and tear apart into Power Rangers before the Luna gets too big.
Disruption into kinetic field on Bone 7, in some trouble once again. Cheshire Cat's there to help out if he can catch up. And, yep, there's the ultimate and one quick sleight of fist. Able to bring him down. And Cheshire Cat is honestly bouncing back very well. He just finished up his phase boost. He's just short of level 7 now. His farm not in the best shape in the world, but given he was sitting at 1 CS just a few minutes ago, the fact that he's now tallied 27 plus a handful of kills, very nice for him to stay on track and try to scale into the mid game. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see it remains a slight lead for PR at 1,000. The experience, as you had mentioned before, hovering right around that number as well for C9. The issue I have right now, and this tower should hopefully help change that, and if they're able to just keep this momentum going, they'll be fine. As much work as they've done, I don't feel like PR has opened up as big as they would like to have on C9. C9, with the Weaver and with the Nature's Prophet in particular, and how quickly those heroes can catch up in terms of farm, I just don't think they've got quite enough done. They need to keep things rolling.
All right, I think TXC is kind of lost completely. Sure, it actually feels a lot later in the game than it really is. It's only 10.5 minutes in. Bottom, though, we have a big fight.
Yep, F-God ends up dropping, and they do end up bringing down the tower as well as the Disruptor. But, yeah, I mean, it's like, this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, Power Rangers got a kill. That's all well and good. They took a tower, but then C9 just counterpunched and did the same thing. And they're keeping the game right where they want to. We see Cheshire Cat spotted out by Sing Sing. And AUI going to be caught out. Sing Sing's right there behind him and will go ahead and engage. It's a two-man impale. Very well done, AUI, with the channel on his ultimate, managing to get some damage done. But there's Eternal Envy to go ahead and pick up the return kill once again, trading C9 1-for-1. But that's going to be a trade that C9's happy with. I mean, they traded away the mid Venomancer of PR for the 5-position Witch Doctor. Like, that's not a problem for them. And I'm just beginning to worry a little bit. Bone 7 once again going to get caught out. He's spotted. There's the Thunderstrike. Glimpse is ready if and when they want it. There it is. Kinetic Kill, follow it into the Eclipse. And Moon takes yet another kill and puts it under his belt. 3-0-3 on him. So PR doing what they can to punish this lineup of C9, but just an absolute back-and-forth match so far.
Yeah, this is really, really big because now FNG has his ultimate and they can start shutting down Eternal Envy a little bit more aggressively. This is a really good time. The 15 to 20 minute mark, I think, is where Power Rangers can take control of the map and take a couple of towers away. They've already taken 2 different tier 1s. That's great. If they can take another one and maybe even take a tier 2, they'll get a large gold advantage that'll be able to sustain them before the Weaver gets too big. Now, Weaver is going to start building into that whether he goes for the defensive pickup of like a BKB or we see an actual like a fast Desolator and just really trying to shut down the Luna very, very early on. Luna does give you a large team fight advantage, but hold up, Bone 7 finds the initiation.
Bone 7 going on Moon. He actually whiffed on the Calling Blade, threw it out a little bit too early. So, yeah, we can see it actually being pinged right now by PR. But yeah, bringing down Moon right there, very nice, and keeping him under control. Taking a look at overall net worth, we can see Moon sitting at the top of the board, but he's not that far ahead of the Weaver. He's only about 300 ahead. Behind that, you've got Veno and Ember Spirit. The fact that Ember Spirit has bounced back and made his way into the top 4 in terms of overall farm is nice for PR. In fact, 3 of the top 4 of overall farm are belonging to PR right now. So this is, anyone's game at this point. But again, Pylite Die is going to have up his Midas very, very soon. And he has, as of yet, not been as big an influence as you usually would see a Furion in a game this aggressive. I suspect that's going to change. So definitely think PR needs to be feeling a sense of urgency. They need to continue clearing this map of towers and need to continue to try to make things happen with rotations, smoke ganks, and the like.
Yeah, the biggest thing is kind of giving yourself a little bit of an early advantage. That way you can weather through the mid-game decently well. The faster you get up that BKB on Luna, the better chance you have of her avoiding getting picked off, for having better team fights, just those sort of things. So if you grab early towers with a Luna, any sort of hard carry Luna, will really be able to do a lot better in the mid-game and make sure that you don't immediately just falter from all of the mid-game team fights and lose tower after tower, as long as you can get in an early push advantage. So that's why those towers are so important, to get Luna that early bit of farm, to get into that BKB, have a little bit of team fight available to you before the storm comes in. Now, Cloud9 are kind of behind right now in their big late game heroes and some of their mid-game initiators. For example, Nyx Assassin. Sing Sing is beginning to pick up more farm, but he does not yet have that blink. If he gets picked off here, this could be really, really bad for them.
Brought back into the Static Storm. Cheshire Cat manages to catch him. And the Vendetta might be all that saves him. Cheshire Cat not going to continue to charge out. Probably the right call to make there, not knowing what was around the corner. So a bit of a failed gank attempt at that time. And PR, again, they just have to continue to move. And, the decision on Luna, just coming back to what you were talking about, the importance of a BKB, it's not the end of the world, but this is one reason I don't really like going Aqualay and Drums both on an early game Luna. Pick one or the other, depending on what your goals are and what you think you want to do. But spending that extra bit of gold, that extra 1,800 or so on anything but your BKB, that's problematic. I mean, if he ends up deciding instead to just pick one or the other in terms of the Aqualay or on the Drum of Endurance, he's actually only about 500-600 gold away from his BKB, maybe 1,000 at the outside at this point. So, delaying the BKB does give a little bit of an opening now to Cloud9, and we'll see if they're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I like what Eternal Envy is doing right now. An early medallion is actually the perfect kind of item to give you the kind of aggression that they need to be able to shut down a Luna this early.
We see J4 taking some damage, forced to use the disruption. There's a kinetic field. Try and block him in. He actually time-lapsed for no real reason, and now Cheshire Cat there to follow it up, and that's a very nice kill for them. And he kind of gave him one there. He tried the time-lapse and hoped it would take him outside of the kinetic field, just not the case. And now Roshan, a very likely prize for them. AUI's hanging out on the other side of the river. And Roche down to about half. Let's see if they're going to try to make any real attempt to contest this. Venomancer has finished a mechanism now. Blink Dagger up on the Nyx Assassin. Sing Sing could end up trying to Vendetta his way in. Doesn't look like they want to, though. Yep, throws out the Impale. And on top of that, they're going to catch Bone 7. So they already get the Roche out. Bone 7 now in trouble. Tracked down and killed off. All of a sudden, 11-7 in PR, doing what we said they had to do. Not just find kills, not just trade even, but keep the pressure up and keep accomplishing objectives. And that's what they've done. A Roshan in their pocket now, as well as another kill on Bone 7, who is quickly beginning to feel quite irrelevant in this game, sitting at 3 and 4 on Axe.
Yeah, Sing Sing was just waiting on his Blink Dagger. That was the biggest thing, is that Sing Sing was just moments away from the Blink Dagger, but at the same time, Roshan was going to die before that point. So they just kind of get caught out by the fact that if the Blink had been up 5 seconds earlier, I think Sing Sing would have tried to initiate, and then you would have had a Bone 7 in a much better position with his Blink, being able to follow that up, and then the attempt at a Roshan and Aegis steal. They easily, just the two of them, easily could have killed 2 to 4 heroes, depending on how many they caught, and the Impale and the resulting call from there. But now, because of that, a little bit of slight misplaying, getting caught out like that, they're kind of suffering. They weren't able to buy enough time for Furion to grab that Tier 1 tower. Furion is yet to get into that big split push, and Cloud9 are just trying to pick up whatever farm they can, because while mid-game and movement is going to be a possible strength of them, they don't have a great team fight here, especially with this Witch Doctor pickup. It's a support that is not going to accomplish a whole lot for them just yet. I mean, it's a very, very stationary hero, relying on a lot of heroes that are very, very mobile.
Down at bottom, J4 disrupts himself to buy time for the teleport reaction. Can they follow it up? Luna's there, but Sans BKB. Let's see how dedicated she is, and Bone 7 manages to jump in and grab her. There's the ultimate coming out of AUI as well, and Moon in trouble. Forced to pop the Eclipse. Good Static Storm. Silenced them out just long enough. Moon does end up dead. Bone 7 sent back, and once again, going toe-to-toe with F-God. He will be able to make it away. Nope, here comes Cheshire Cat. Got off the sleight of fist and will be able to jump right on top. No, good blink from Bone 7 as he makes it away. Sing Sing pops the carapace. That stops Cheshire Cat in his steps as well. So that's a 3-for-1 trade on the side of PR. Certainly not where they want to be. And, it's heartbreaking. And to be honest, I'm not sure what you...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Tier 1 top. So that's definitely going to make this a huge... It's so hard to call. I don't know if this is C9 playing so well or if it's PR just really playing a little bit sloppy down the stretch, or maybe a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Yeah, they were in such a good position after the laning phase and a couple of resulting kills from rotations. Somehow the Disruptor and Shadow Demon actually proved to be very, very good rotation supports, even though traditionally they really aren't compared to many others. They were managed to make it work for them, and I was surprised by that and pleased, because I thought Power Rangers were going to be able to turn that into a strong team fight lineup that gives them an advantage. Hold on, Cheshire's in trouble.
And there's a disruption. J4 and the rest of PR happen to be in the vicinity, and Bone 7 is screw Ed as he and AUI decided to try and make something happen against the Ember Spirit, and little did they know all of PR was there. But here's the problem. This is where the split push power comes in. Eternal Envy on the Weaver, a hero who doesn't care to overextend because he is so reliably able to escape. and Pile Die with his Midas up. He's probably going to be working on either a Necro Book or a Shadow Blade. And they are just going to be able to push and take towers very quickly. Speaking of taking towers, though, Power Rangers able to turn that pick off on Road 7 into a tier 1 of their own as they take bottom lane out. And let's see how C9 wants to react.
Yeah, right now, the big advantage of Ember Spirit is he can come right back. So he's going to be able to farm up, get that Maelstrom, heal up, and be back into this team fight if they want to continue pressuring Tier 2s. They have to deal with split push, yes, but it's easier to take Tier 2 towers as a 5-man group than it will be for Furion to take a Tier 2. So if they can trade, they should be doing all right. This is still Power Rangers. They still have a good late game with the Luna, with the Ember Spirit. Surely, yeah, they're losing a little bit of map control, giving away their Tier 2, and that's another objective going the way of Cloud9 to end this game, but it's still more gold going into Power Rangers and still getting them their BKB, getting them their big damage dealing item.
Bone 7 once again in some trouble. Used his blade mail, so was able to do a bit of damage. That in and of itself is likely to stultify any attempt of Power Rangers to try and push further. Now, Eternal Envy is off to the side, as is Sing Sing. They might decide to maybe make something happen with so much damage being done. Nope. Instead, they're going to go ahead and look to position on the side. Now, they need to try and make something happen here. Luna does not have her BKB in her inventory. She has to complete. There's a static form as well. Sing Sing caught inside of it, plus the kinetic form. And Sing Sing ends up dropping. So Power Rangers playing this out well. They're going to catch AUI as well. And AUI brought down by Cheshire Cat. That's going to be a 4-man trade, 4 for nil. Pile Die does manage to pop the Aegis, but that's going to be a trade they're quite happy to make. And it's going to be 30 seconds until they're back to full strength. Only Bone 7 and Pile Die are standing now, so this is a definite tier 3. Could potentially, hang on, Bone 7 is going to go for it. It goes right in on Moon, manages to get the kill. And that blade mail paying for itself in spades this time. Eternal Envy up off the buyback, as is AUI. They're going to be able to put down J4 for sure. ZXC in the meantime, trying to teleport away, will end up making it back home. F-God, not nearly as lucky. So a couple of buybacks were spent, and Cheshire Cat hiding out in the trees up at the top right corner, very near the base. He does have a TP. He just needs 5 more mana. It's being pinged right now. And, yep, manages to make it home. That was actually pinged by AUI. You saw it pop up in his colors, so they had an idea of where he was. Instead, he manages to make it home. So they managed to bring down, no, they didn't even get the tier 3. So it cost them a couple of buybacks, but C9 able to stem the tide a little bit longer. Yeah,
Power Rangers were just so close to ending the game right there. If the Fire Remnant jump, if Ember Spirit had been able to jump just like a second sooner, he would have hit Axe and that Blink Dagger would have been disabled, and he wouldn't have gotten that big call that allowed the buybacks from Eternal Envy and the Witch Doctor to come in. Cheshire Cat, though, he's getting blown up by Sing Sing. This double damage just did some serious work for him.
That is such a big kill for Cloud9. Unbelievably big, being able to return kill him. Chat trivia, which player is the career win leaders on Axe in Pro Dota 2 with a perfect 6-0 record on the hero since mid-2012? That's another good question. And it looks like, things have kind of taken a back seat for them. I'm trying to think. Axe is another one of those heroes I've seen played once in a while by a lot of teams, and I don't know that I've seen any one player play him 6 times.
Yeah, this is hard because, again, yeah, exactly. You see Axe picked up, but you don't see him consistently enough to really make an impression on you. I've seen there's actually an Axe in my mind that I'm picturing the game and everything. I just can't remember the teams who are playing, and I'm pretty sure that's it. But there's no way I would have gotten this off the top of my head. Well, I'm pretty sure if Nahaz, if you're not thinking of it, or Statsman wouldn't have gotten this one off the top of his head, then I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get it either.
I'm going to throw this out there. Honest to goodness, going all the way back to when I first started casting Dota, the team that I think I've seen run Axe the most is Na'Vi. Like, I remember seeing them run him a bunch of times. I can't even remember who they put on him. It must have been, I don't know. Like, I'm going to just take an absolute shot in the dark and say Puppy. But even that doesn't feel right to me. So, but I know I saw them run, even then in my first year casting Dota, I saw them run Axe 3 times. And that just comes to mind. And it looks like I nailed it. Because yeah. Give the man a prize.
That's got to be way back in the day. Yeah. My goodness. I would love to see the dates of some of those games because I'm pretty sure they got to be so separated. But Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you much. In the meantime, we've got action as Pile Die banging away along with Eternal Envy, bringing down this tier 2, and they're going to try to trade. They're going to actually be able to make it home in time to defend PR's push down bottom lane now.
Yeah, if they want to, they should have to. I mean, really, they can't contest with the Luna Aura, plus the wards, and top of that, their tier 3 is already low. But how are they really going to be able to contest this? They still have a bit of a push. They just have to back Power Rangers up. However, they don't have any real spam to throw their way.
And Bone in some trouble again. Manages to pop the Blade Miller's kinetic field behind that. Sing Sing caught in it once again. And the tier 3 already gone. Sing Sing's already down. They got some damage done, but here comes the Weaver. However, forced the time lapse. He's eating so much damage, even with the BKB active. Bone 7 right back up, though. Dunks right on 2 in a row. ZXC gets off the ultimate. Will it be enough? Bone 7 again gets a double kill, and Cheshire Cat still standing. So let's see if they can manage to get him off of these racks. ZXC manages to lock down a mega kill with a double kill of his own because of the ultimate. Sing Sing back up off the buyback, engages on Cheshire Cat. Carapace was used. Now he's going to have to turn and run as Cheshire Cat manages to survive. Force Staff gets him back away from the racks, but the exchange finally winding down in favor of Power Rangers. And they're going to take our game's first set of racks at 26 minutes. In the meantime, they did manage to trade almost even as the melee rack still standing. Moon back up to defend off of the split push. So not a total loss for Cloud9, but certainly not an exchange they would make again if they had the chance.
Yeah, that was super, super close. I mean, just one extra nuke, something small like that, and they would have been able to back Power Rangers up, and they would have actually had an advantage and have a full ranged racks in exchange for just a tier 3 tower. But they just, despite the fact that Eternal Envy had that BKB and it soaked up a lot of damage there, his 2 different lives were able to kind of back Power Rangers up a little bit. He just doesn't have the damage right now with just the BKB up on him. His medallion is useful if he's not being focused, and that's the big problem, is he was focused very, very well there by Power Rangers.
Moon caught out, but able to get off the Eclipse. However, Bone 7 does have his Blade Mail active. Here comes Cheshire Cat to react. They feed a couple. And Power Rangers, over the last 5 minutes, has absolutely turned the tide of this game in their favor. Taking a look at the updated gold graph, we can see that lead has ballooned almost to its highest point. They were almost 7,500 gold ahead at one point now. Building on that, but more importantly, building on that with a set of bottom racks down. The experience has absolutely mountained in front of them, that almost a sheer cliff face heading in their favor, and only going to get worse as they bring down yet another tower. And looks like if things continue for like this for the next few minutes, we could very well be seeing a game 3. Power Rangers coming off of their big win yesterday and looking to once again pull the upset.
Yeah, Cloud9, they're doing the smart thing. They went through middle really, really quickly and are start beating down on that melee racks, but they're going to lose a tier 3 in exchange for it. But it's the best they can do with Furion and Axe being on cooldown.
And they got to get home quick. They don't have a glyph. And yeah, this is a terrible trade for them. Terrible, terrible trade for them. And they're going to end up losing yet another set of racks. They never even got in a position to try to defend. So they're now down 2 racks to 1 set of racks. Not the end of the world, but what's so hard about this whenever you're down 2 racks like this is now you just have to count on the majority of the game's fights taking place on your side of the river. That makes it so hard to get back down the map and manage to take down another set of racks. I mean, even with mid, I mean, tier 3 and mid isn't banged at all, and the tier 2 at bottom is even still standing. So that's the issue. Like, they basically have to just defend, and hope for the perfect opportunity. PR, though, showing that, this is when they're really in their comfort zone, and they've managed to execute so well so far.
Yep, they're going to go ahead. Cloud9 doing the best that they can. I mean, in this situation, Axe is dead. Axe and Furion were both dead. They take a Rax. This time, they're going to go for Roshan. They're just doing with the best with what they've been given, considering the fact that sort of the mid game just completely fell apart, and now they're having to deal with the potential of going late game up against. I mean, when you're 2 racks down, the only way you win usually is either 5-manning immediately afterwards and hoping you somehow win a great team fight and turn it and get another racks of your own, or you go really, really late and somehow just turtle it out from there. But you're going to be going up against a Luna and an Ember Spirit. Even if you do have decent late game in your own with the Weaver and the Furion, it's not a matchup you want to deal with.
Yeah. And The last remaining outer tier tower drops. They're about to be megged if they don't get home right now. And this is not a fight they can just skirt like they did that top defense. They have to get home soon. Pylai doing what he can down at bottom. There is no glyph up on the side of PR. There's the Manta from the Luna. And up, good initiation from Bone 7. There's a nice disruption from J4, though, and Bone 7 going to end up dead because of it. Ends up losing that Aegis. Sync blown up absolutely immediately. And Bone 7 back up and caught right in the kinetic field. This is probably going to be the end of our game. You could not have asked for a better management of that fight than what they got out of their supports. And Cheshire Cat just going to flat out rush down AUI, and AUI just going to bring him down. That was a little goofy. Luna now moving forward, but Pylai trying to sprout himself in. Not going to matter. They have vision because of the Thunderstrike. GG cold. So PR, though they got run over in game 1, manages the counter punch here in game 2 and give us an extended series going all the way to game 3. And, you know, we both had our doubts during the draft about how that offensive tri-lane, Disruptor, the Shadow Demon, and the Luna would end up panning out, and I always have my doubts about a mid-Venomancer. And hell, the Ember Spirit had a horrendous start. He was still level 2 and had 1 CS at like 5 minutes into the game. Nonetheless, they get things under control and don't just win, but win impressively.
Yeah, and I think that as many doubts as I had about the aggressive tri-lane, Disruptor and Shadow Demon still have their place in the meta. Witch Doctor, I don't really see. That hero, whenever Power Rangers were pushing into the base, they could do nothing to stop it. Not even just a small amount of spam, right? Not even something, so many other supports are able to throw down a single AoE spell that draws the creeps away from the tier 3s or away from the tier 2s. As it stood, whenever Power Rangers 5-man into a tower, they had full creep advantage because of the fact that Cloud9 can pull any of those creeps away with a support. So it just meant the towers died very, very quickly. And they were always able to go uphill, and Cloud9 have no spam to be able to throw out to kind of back up Power Rangers and allow their split push, give the split push of Furion a little bit more time to actually make it work. If they just had something small like that, I think they could have had a better chance of being able to utilize this split push in with the pick-off potential of a Weaver and an Axe a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, all around, Cloud9 kind of faltering in game 2. Power Rangers doing a much better job in game 2 than they did in game 1. I just think it came a little bit down to the draft. Questionable with the Venomancer mid and the aggressive tri-lane, but I think that Cloud9 had such weak lanes that they were able to make it work for them.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Cloud9 just, they had their chances to execute. Really, Bone 7 out of that mid-axe position. I mean, he had some good plays, make no mistake, but 6 and 11 on him, that's way too many deaths. And for the most part, he just felt very ineffective for much of that game. 2 and 7 on Pylai. He never really recovered from dying off early and often. And he got his book 3 up. He had his Midas up. But again, just not the impact that you usually want out of a Nature's Prophet. And a lot of that contributed or can be considered a result, not necessarily out of bad play from C9, but more out of very good map management and just very good movement out of PR. So really looking forward to game 3. Want to see what both of these teams have in store.
Yep, short commercial break, and we'll be back with game 3 of Cloud9 versus Power Rangers.